Today, I want to talk about consistency, especially when it comes to running events. So, with the Flying Sage community I run here in Vancouver, we mostly focus on running in person events, and we run between 4 to 5 in person events per week. And I found that running in person events is critical to building what I feel like is authentic, heart centered community. I think you can achieve something similar virtually, but I think it's different. And there's something really magic that happens when people gather in person. And so you'll find throughout my channel here that a lot of my philosophy around community building is focused around in person. And that's partially because that's what I have the most experience with, but I've also made the conscious decision to focus on building in person community because one, I feel like that's what's really needed in the world, but also two, I feel like that's really where the most powerful effects and results from community centered work can come from. And I apply my community-centered work to breathwork and psychedelics, but you can apply community-centered work to whatever it is that you're passionate about. And so this concept of consistency, I think, is critical when you're running in-person events because it helps build some rapport with the people that are showing up, and it actually creates that ongoing familiarity, which I think can be really critical in creating that sense of safety and belonging. Because when we're in community, that's really what a lot of people are looking for, whether they're consciously seeking that or not. You know, they might come to, let's just say you have a community around ping pong, out of all things. People might find you because they're looking for a community around ping pong to maybe improve their skills. But I'd say that what's going to keep them coming back most likely is going to be the people in your community. And it's going to be their connection and relationship to those people, not necessarily how much their ping pong game is improving. Obviously, that'll be an important consideration, but I'd say that that thing is probably going to be the easier thing to achieve if you were to run a ping pong community. Like that would be the thing that would probably happen, is assuming that you're someone experienced who knows who to bring, like who to bring together to teach others that sport. Then that part will probably fly pretty easily. But if your goal is to create a long-lasting community, the thing that is going to be harder to maintain and cultivate is going to be those long-lasting connections between people and creating that felt sense of community. And so that's where I think consistency is really key, because it allows someone to look forward to an event that's coming up. They get a sense of a cadence. It gives them the freedom and ability to actually schedule your community into their calendar, because people's calendars are all over the place. And if you don't have something consistent, then it's going to be very unlikely that someone is going to be able to remember to keep coming back to an event of yours. Another big reason why consistency is important is because it also makes things a lot easier for you as the event organizer. So if you think about, when you're starting out building a community, like you're probably the one that's organizing all the events and doing all the operations for the events. Check out my other video on how to outsource that, because I think that's one of the most important things you can do right away if you're running a lot of in-person events, is to outsource the operations for these events. And whether it's you doing it or you have someone that's working on it, having the consistency is going to make their job very easy. It's going to make your job easy if that's you, and it's going to make your VA or your assistant or your events manager, it's going to make their job a lot easier if there's consistency to the events. Because if you're doing events all over the place, and sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Sunday, and the time's changing and the place is changing, if all of those variables, if there's no variables that are consistent, then it's just going to be very challenging for you to actually grow a community, because you can't really build a system around that. Like a system is built around some sort of consistency, whether that's consistency around time, or that's consistency around hosts and facilitators, or maybe that's consistency around venue. I feel like these are three main factors that you can try to play around with. And you don't necessarily need to have consistency around all three of these things, but you should try to have consistency, I think, around two of them at least. So maybe you have the same time and place, but the people or the instructors are different. Or maybe you have the same instructor and the same time, but maybe you're changing up the venue. I mean, if you want to make them all three the same, that also works too, and that's great. But sometimes you want to balance the consistency also with a healthy dose of diversity. And that's maybe something else we'll talk about in another video. But the main point today is make sure that you're prioritizing consistency in your community.